Yeah, I definitely. Oh, I lost my train of thought. That's great. What was I
I
gonna
love
say?
trains.
Woo woo.
I like trains.
Trains are
It's
awesome.
actually
You
a
ever been on
train.
one, like an actual
Not
train?
the L.
I lost. Oh, I have a funny train story. Should I tell it? Or do it?
I was gonna say
It is
I
the.
took a
It does
I took
involve.
a
It does involve the L.
I was gonna say I took a like an actual like double decker train, like a passenger train from mid Michigan down to Chicago to see a concert like 6-7 years ago.
Nice.
It was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. If you can ever travel by train, travel by train. I'm not talking like subway or like metro.
Oh no, I'm
That's
not
not what I'm
talking.
talking
Yeah,
about.
I don't call those trains.
See, I'm gonna disagree there. I took a train from New Orleans to Chicago, and I never want to take a train again in my entire life.
See, because there's no high speed rail in the U.S., and I will go on a tangent about
Why do you
this
want it? Why do you want it to be a high speed rail? The
because it
point
gets you there
of
and so quickly.
rail travel is not necessarily the speed in which you get there. It is also the experience that you have while getting there. So like I don't know, Sneaky, I don't know if you took like a bad train, but like the one I was on, it was double decker, seats were big and lush. It was only like a 4-hour trip, so probably wasn't as long as yours. I mean, if I took a long trip, I'd get a car, I'd get a room. Like you can get passenger rooms with like a bed and a sink and stuff like that if you're taking
You
a
know,
long
no, no,
trip.
no, we're not going to have the Lorcana cruise anymore. We're having the Lorcana train ride where we go coast to coast and play Lorcana for the entire ride.
Honestly, that is an amazing idea.
Card games on trains.
I am 100% down for this.
Trains with Teddy.
That's a goal for us. We're gonna sponsor a tournament that we all have to play on a train. Like this is like a couple years
We
down the
started
road,
with
but we're gonna do it.
cruises, and now we're on trains. What other modes of transportation do we need to cover?
Planes. Can we get a
Have
private
you ever
jet?
heard? Have you ever heard of the
No, that's
cannonball
already
run?
been done.
Oh gosh.
That's already been done.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. We're back for another episode, and we're going to talk about the singles market today. Obviously, it has been changing a lot. Prices have dropped, and we can actually buy cards for a decent amount. We also have some new cards to talk about that have been released in the past few weeks by Disney Lorcana. But before we get started, let's check in with the boys. Blake, how are you doing today, sir?
I am doing very well.
Yeah, love to hear it. Spencer, how are you doing, sir?
Doing fine.
Short and sweet, just how we like it. And last but not least, Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, my friend.
Awesome. Well, I am doing great myself. I just finished school for the semester, so I am now on winter break. Nice little pause from daily life activities. But the first thing what we're going to do today is talk about the new cards that we have gotten from Lorcana. Obviously, last week we talked about locations and a lot of set 3 stuff, and we got 3 new cards, but we didn't touch on them as heavily as we could have. So this week we are going to do those, and then we'll obviously talk about the 2 new cards that we also got. But the first one is going to be Peter Pan. And Sean, why don't you tell us about Peter Pan and what this card does?
All right, so we have a new card in Emerald, Peter Pan, Lost Boy Leader. He is a 4-cost inkable 3/3 Dreamborn hero with 1 lore. His ability is I came to listen to the stories. Once per turn, when this character moves to a location, gain lore equal to that location's lore. I think this is probably one of the more interesting cards we've seen so far. I know we haven't seen too many, but this allows you to have access to a way of generating potentially big sums of lore without ever having to interact with your opponent, which we've all seen from how set 2 has been shaking out, that is a very desirable thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think obviously we've only seen one location in Forbidden Mountain and it only has 1 lore on it, but that is a 2-cost inkable and it has 6 willpower, which seems pretty strong. So we can only imagine what these bigger, maybe possibly rarer, more powerful locations will have in terms of ink. or not ink, lore value. So this Peter Pan could come into play very quickly. Blake or Spencer, do you guys have any thoughts on Peter Pan Lost Boy Leader? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, other than what's already been said, not really too much. It's just opportunity for you to gain some lore without worrying about what your opponent has going on potentially, or consistently gain lore if he's able to bounce between locations. So we really just need to see how the locations shake up before we can really decide how good any of these location matters cards are. To be totally honest.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Blake?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely looking forward to seeing. Also, the other factor is the move costs
Mm-hmm.
for the location. So we need to see how high some of these will go, especially for
Yeah.
ones with the more lore. So, uh, definitely interested to see where it goes. But it looks like this guy will see at least a bit of play in the location stack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any Emerald based location deck, I could definitely see this. Seen some play.
And that's really that's really the important thing, right? It's that
Mm-hmm.
we need we're going to need like a really well valued location in Emerald or in a off color that is just desirable to play along with Emerald already, I feel like.
Which right now really only is steel. If you think about it, I couldn't like pinpoint another ink that maybe amber or not amber, amethyst because of its draw, but steel I could see if they have a desirable location in there. Uh, but
It
yeah,
really
that
comes
is.
down to like lore
Mm-hmm.
value, cost to play it, and cost to move to it, and what it does. So like
Yeah.
once if they can balance those four things out, it should be a no brainer. Like once we see the location, we'll know what it is. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Uh, yeah. So locations. Speaking of locations, the next card we have is a new Minnie Mouse card. And Spencer, what does this card do? Because it does involve
Yeah,
locations.
so Minnie Mouse is a one cost steel Dreamborn hero with 0 strength, 3 willpower, 1 lore, and the ability Journey. While this character is at a location, she gets +2 strength. So having a 2/3 for 1 is pretty good as far as stats go, but of course there is also the cost to move her to the location. So we're looking at like a 2/3 1 for 2, which is just vanilla stats. So if we have locations that get benefits from having characters at them, then she might be valuable. Otherwise, you're probably better off just grabbing a the 1/3 Minnie Mouse that exists. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Blake, do you have any thoughts on Minnie Mouse Funky Spelunker? Spelunker?
Uh, yeah, like Spencer said, this one is gonna definitely need to see benefits from the location itself as well. Otherwise, I don't really see her getting too much play, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree that I don't think she's going to see a lot of play unless we do see a location that like really benefits from her. But Sean, do you have any last thoughts on this Minnie Mouse card?
I mean, I'm gonna say that everything the guy said already holds absolutely true. I completely agree with all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even if we have her at a location that can generate some really good stuff from having her there, she still almost has just a worse challenger, and that doesn't feel good to me at all. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
it really just hinges on a really really good steel location, or and that's really it. Like as long as we get
yeah,
like a really really good steel location that generates benefit every turn, then sure, yeah, slam her in there. But beyond that, I don't see her seeing a lot of play.
yeah, yeah. I think Minnie Mouse, like we said, it's going to be very dependent on what we see, and obviously we only have 6 cards from the set so far. So there's a lot. There's a very much a lot to be seen. But the final card that we got a few weeks ago was Piglet and Blake. What does this card say, sir?
All right, so Piglet is more of what we traditionally seen from Lorcana so far. He is a 2-cost inkable 2/2 with the tags of Dreamborn, Hero, Pirate, and Captain. He has 1 lore, but he also has the ability, and I'm the captain. While you have 2 or more other characters in play, this character gets +2 lore. So basically, turn 3, you can pretty consistently get Piglet to 2 lore, which is just great, and uh, cares about a lot of the things that Amber already cares about having a wide board, and yeah, I just see him having a lot of fun, especially in a pirates themed deck, which will hopefully be getting this set. Uh,
It looks like it's going to be Steel Amber from what I'm looking at, because we really
Yeah.
only have a bunch of pirates in Steel. We have John Silver and Emerald. We have 1 Captain Hook and Ruby, and then we have Piglet and Mr. Smee and Amber. So as of right now, it feels like it's shaken out to be a Steel Amber piratey type thing.
just what we need, another Steel Amber
I know,
archetype.
right? Like, I know. Let's just, just take all the good stuff, just take like half the good stuff out of there, swap it in. I mean, Bob's your uncle.
Hey, Ryan
Uh,
Miller's gotta be real happy right now. This pirate deck is coming into fruition.
Wasn't
Gotta
that
be
the
real happy.
deck that he had said at one point that was his favorite was pirates?
Yeah. So
I see where his head's at. I see what he's doing. He thinks he's tricky.
he knows what he's doing there. He knows what he's
Imagine
doing there.
designing a TCG just so you could have a cool pirate deck.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
I'd do
wouldn't
it.
blame him.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea for a TCG.
But yeah, just does the thing that Amber likes to do, and he is a super rare, so I definitely anticipate him being probably one of the more pricier cards of the upcoming set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, everybody loves Piglet, man. He's like,
I love the art. Yeah,
yeah, dude, the art's amazing, and like the whole Winnie the Pooh franchise is almost. You don't immediately think Disney. At least I don't. It feels like its own thing.
it does.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's its own franchise, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely Winnie the Pooh is up there. And obviously collectability value too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I do see that it is keeping consistent with the other Amber Winnie the Pooh cards, with Christopher Robin caring about having 2 or more characters in play.
Yup.
But I feel like
Yeah.
this ability you will be able to get off a lot easier.
Yeah, I definitely something that I thought about was where you now have 2 pretty high value 2-drop options in Piglet. You also have the bodyguard Simba, which right now is being played a lot to protect that 1-cost Cinderella or even a queen or some whatever 1-cost you're playing down in Amber or whatever steel
Invaluable.
yeah, and that's valuable to be able to protect that with him being a 2/3, which you can't usually hit a 3 cost on turn 2. So what happened? I think it's gonna throw that up in the air at what's being played there. Uh,
Simba Protective Cub is just going to keep getting played forever. Like it's
yeah,
just
it's
such a
there's
good
no
card.
way it's not. It's
Well, in a like Stitch Rockstar deck, you got room for so many 2-drops because you want them in there.
that's
True.
true.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to like stall your curve out on like 2-drops basically.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
I
a
definitely.
lot of good Amber 2-drops. It's not even just him. Isn't the LeFou? Doesn't he get cheaper when he has Gaston? But he's a 2-drop as well.
Yeah. We ever see an Amber Ruby deck come up?
Hey, Raijinku's playing one. I know. Shout out Raijinku. He's been
He is,
a
and
champion of Ruby Amber from like day one. No matter if it's meta or not, he's been in it.
he's amazing with it too. I mean, he's good at any TCG he plays. Spencer, do you have any thoughts on Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain?
It's a very Amber card.
Short and sweet. Just how Spencer likes
Oh.
it. Short and sweet. Can't go wrong with it. Cannot go wrong with the short and sweet. Well, we do have 2 more cards to talk about. And these are the newer cards we got. And little, I think the holiday spirit is where these are from, and they were from the Lorcana Twitter. The first one is an action song, 2-cost inkable, I've Got a Dream. And this says, ready chosen character of yours at a location. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. Gain lore equal to that location's lore. That, I think...
It's also Ruby.
It is Ruby. I meant to say that. Totally didn't mean to say that. I think this is going to be a good card, in my opinion.
Oh, no question. This is an amazing card.
The fact that it can be sung makes it really good. And even if it wasn't just a regular action, it's still great. But I'm very interested to see if you can use a character at a location to sing this card. Then you ready that character. Even though they can't quest, you can still gain lore equal to that location's lore.
Right.
Very interested to see if that triggers.
Clear something up for me, boys. So like the gaining lore from locations, does that start at the beginning of your turn, or is that when you move to it?
I
don't remember.
The set phase of ready, set, draw.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
start of your turn from the location. Yeah, start of your turn during the set phase.
So basically, you have a character on a location.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like you said, sing this song with them, and you're gaining that much lore twice.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're safe because they're ready at that point.
Yeah.
Seems pretty awesome, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think this will be a staple in any Ruby deck, because I know they obviously like wait a bit to play, and obviously they're waiting for Be Prepared, but to be able to have something that earlier in the game can help you gain just a little bit more lore is, I think, going to be really good. Spencer, I'll go to you first. Do you have thoughts about I've Got a Dream and what this is going to do to the metagame, in Ruby specifically?
I mean, y'all covered it pretty much with the combos that are available. I mean, other than your normal ready shenanigans that Ruby's able to get off, I think it'll be a good card if locations turn out to be good. And I definitely think that locations are going to be causing a big shift in how Ruby plays in general. Because, like you said, the whole waiting for Be Prepared thing. Be Prepared doesn't care about locations. So if locations are a big thing, or locations don't care about Be Prepared, sorry. So if locations are a big thing, then Ruby's going to have some other options available to them. And this could be one of them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And our final card of the first 5 cards that we have so far, obviously beyond the location, is Mama Odie, Voice of Wisdom. She's a 6-cost uninkable amethyst card, Dreamborn Ally Sorcerer, 3/6 with 2 lore. Listen to your mama now is her ability. Whenever this character quests, you may move up to 2 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. Wow is the thing I'll say right off the bat. But Spencer, I'll go to you first. What do you think about Mama Odie? How good do you think this card is?
I think Mama Odie is amazing. We're gonna see how it actually plays out, but everybody knows I'm a big fan of anything that gets you additional value off of something you already wanted to do. So any win quest stuff makes me very happy. I was able to get some confirmations and some rulings from Steve on this card, so we do know that the move does count as a remove for the purpose of things like Grand Pabby and stuff like that. So in the layman's terms, that is used as it counts as a heal, so it'll trigger any heal effects. And then the other thing is that because it is a move and you have to have something to take from and then something to give it to, you do have to have both options. So if your opponent does have to have a character that you can move damage to in order to use the ability. And there's a whole bunch of awesome, little things that you can do with this character. Not only, doing the whole healing your own characters and damaging your opponent's characters, but fun stuff like If your opponent has a resist character that's low on health, but you don't have enough damage to get over their resist, you can damage something else and then move those 2 counters over to the resist character, because damage counters aren't affected by resist, and stuff like that. And so it's you got lots of fun little options you can do with this card. And
Yeah, I think something that I'm excited about is the healing package, obviously, but that ability to get through resist. Because I find myself a lot these days going up against any steel decks, and once Cinderella comes out, it's just kind of hard to do anything unless you have some big bodies out. So being able to go around resist is going to be really nice. Sean, I'll go to you next. What do you think about Mama Odie? Obviously, I think we all think this card is going to be great.
Yeah, man. She's obviously one of the best examples that we have of this card should be uninkable. Like, I know a lot of them are really ambiguous and like you don't really know, but we know, Mama, we know.
Mm-hmm.
So, on top of everything that Spencer already said, her 6 willpower, I love it. Come on now, we like them thick when it comes to Lorcana. The willpower is what really matters. She has 2 lore, which is great because you're going to be questing with her, obviously, because of her ability. She also likes, and I shudder to even mention this because I don't like to think that Ruby Amethyst is going to keep getting played, but she loves Teeth and Ambition. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, you hit yourself with a Teeth and Ambition, she quests, you dealt 4 damage to your opponent and did really nothing other than gain advantage from on your side. So
Yeah.
silliness like that's going to be fantastic. She's just a great card. Definitely going to be one of the stars. I shudder to think there's going to be something better than this, like a character better than this. It'll probably happen. There'll probably be like 1, 2, or 3, but like, I don't know, man. If she's the top end of set 3 is going to be fun.
And she's an uncommon too. So this is not going to be that hard to get available. Not that hard to get.
No, dude. Pretty much everybody, you'll be able to get your hand. That like, can we put votes in for most expensive uncommon at this point? Because it might be one of these 2 cards because they're both uncommon. I've Got a Dream and Mama Odie are both uncommon.
Blake, do you have any thoughts to wrap up our little character segment for this episode?
For Mama Odie, I did have another rulings question that popped up. I'm just reading over the super rare beast Selfless Protector, and I'm wondering, would he take the 2 damage if your opponent had one, or are you still able to place it on that specific character that you're choosing?
Spencer?
Beast Selfless Protector would not care about the damage counters. So it would go where you want them.
That's interesting. This card is going to get around a lot of things.
Yeah, and we do have confirmation on that.
Okay, awesome sauce. Well, those are the 5 cards. Obviously, like I said, besides the location, the 4 characters, and then song that we got. But the next part of the episode is going to be on the singles market because it has dropped significantly. TCG player prices are at legitimately an all-time low for these cards. Legendaries that we were paying $15 for from set 1 are now around $2-3 for some of them. And decks are just becoming cheaper to play. You can build a pretty good deck for $150 to $200 right now. So Sean, I want to go to you first about this. What is this? How does this make you feel? Because I know like we've all like been hesitant to buy cards because they've been so expensive, but now that they're actually accessible, what do you think this does for the game as a whole, and how does this make you feel about Lorcana?
I love it, man. Like, I'm one of those. I'm like many of our listeners, I'm sure. I'm a TCG player on a budget, so I love the fact that these prices are dropping.
Yeah, I definitely
more affordable decks is just better. Like there's I keep seeing stuff out on social media that people are like upset. Like, oh, the game's tanking. Product is barely worth anything. I'm like, it's worth what they wanted you to pay for it now. Like, that's not nothing.
Yeah, like scalpers market is dead. Players market is thriving right now because obviously these people who were selling these cards before knew that there wasn't a lot of product out there. They knew there weren't a lot of cards, but they also knew people wanted this, so these prices were high. Or not Tangled, Rapunzel was at $60. Now she's at around 20, I believe, the last time I checked. Which
I'm
is
sure there's plenty of people out there that were like hoarding product
oh
and
yeah.
like trying to sell for a profit, and now they're just like, I spent $300 per booster box here, and it's just been sitting in my room waiting for it to sell. Well, you're selling at a loss now.
Yeah. I mean, you can save it. I guarantee you, like in 10 years, it may be a little bit, and that value may have gone
Yeah,
back up.
you might get that $300 again.
But 10 years versus a few months is a lot different. Blake, I'll go to you next. What are your thoughts on the single markets dropping, and what does this do for Lorcana as a whole?
I am very happy because as a Canadian, our prices are just naturally higher because Canada.
Guess Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah. So seeing it drop down significantly from where it was, it like getting ready for Miami was costly just filling out the few rares that I needed. Like I needed 3 more Cuscos and I had to spend $60 to get a hold of the remaining 3. And we were actually looking this morning and we can now get Cusco for $2 a piece.
Thank you, Spencer from Gen Con, for hooking me up with the ones I had.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Foils too.
yeah.
Speaking of foils, this is a tangent, but I saw I pulled the Let It Go cold foil for the first time the other day, and that is a wild cold foil. It's really beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
All of them are. But Spencer, before we move on to our next talking point on this, what are your thoughts just on the singles market as a whole? Any other things that maybe Sean or Blake haven't mentioned?
I got some data. Who doesn't like data?
Data.
Let's hear that data.
Yeah. So the actually Rise of the Floodborne
knife?
has actually gone up a little bit. Over the last week or so. So what I do is I put I have a certain account on Dreamborn.inc where I put the full playset into there, and it gives you your little set value thing. So currently, a Rise of the Floodborn playset would cost $1,133.60, and that's up a little bit. It was about $100 cheaper about a week ago. But that doesn't really matter a whole lot. Now, a TFC playset is $797.84, which has gone down from last week, and has gone down significantly from the highest value that I saw previously for a TFC playset was $2,800. So, yeah. Prices have tanked on TFC.
Really, really glad I haven't finished my playsets yet.
Yeah, me too.
And then I also put in like cards I need. I haven't checked my other accounts, but I know it was at like $566, and almost all of that was the I don't have any of the Steel Beasts, which are like, they were $30 at the time. Now they're $36. They've gone up even more because Steel Song, so over it.
They're gonna still.
Yeah, but hopefully,
Beast is
hopefully
such a
Rise
good
sees a similar situation as TFC, where it drops significantly on set 3, because I don't need them right now, but I would like to have the playset. So I'm just gonna hold off on buying until prices drop.
That leads right into my next point, which is the best times to look to buy cards, which is that same precedent where obviously set 1 prices dropped when set 2 came out, and hopefully set 2 prices will drop when set 3 comes out. So I'll just open this up to the floor to anyone who wants to talk about this. Is that kind of the style you guys go at when trying to finish out playsets? Do you wait? Because obviously, when new cards come out, you're going to want to play with those decks. You can buy those specific cards that you need for your decks. But what is your guys' strategy for buying cards to finish playsets out? Sean, I'll go to you first because I know you've done this. You've been playing these games for a longer time in the competitive space. Is that how you kind of do things with your games? Your cards, rather?
So when I'm playing competitively, I'm in a different mindset than like just playing the game. So what I do usually is I will buy like a booster box or two right when a set drops to get some of the you're probably gonna get a couple of the bangers you need. You're gonna get a lot of the commons and uncommons to fill out like decent play sets of like cards that you're probably just gonna swap out for a better version of what it already does or
Yeah.
like similar to what it does.
Mhm.
So I'll do that right away, and then when I'm going to buy singles, I will narrow down what deck I want to play first.
Mhm.
I will look at the field, look at what's good, look at what's coming out, look at what has been. I will decide if I want to just upgrade the deck I'm already playing or play a new deck.
Mhm.
Which the last game I played, Digimon, it was a toss-up because that game is so good at supporting older archetypes that have fallen off. They'll be like, hey, here's like 3 new cards that make that just as good as it needs to be in the meta again. And I really hope once we get down the road in Lorcana, we see the same thing. I would love to see stuff that you got to play 5 sets ago. Well, here's 3 new cards, 4 new cards, whatever it is, jumps back up there. So I generally wait a little bit. Then I will buy whatever I need for a deck or 2. Usually just the one deck I'm going to pilot. And then I wait for prices to drop. Because they all inevitably do. Like that's the nature of the beast. Like once the next set comes out, the set before it automatically drops off because there are way fewer people seeking those cards.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of good points in the fact that I think like this words, please. That's exactly how I go about it. It's just like seeing what's good, and because the great thing is about like building a community and stuff is you can borrow cards from other people as well. If you know you need something and say like, hey, someone at locals has this, and they're not playing it in that tournament, they say, hey, can I borrow this? And I think that's also like something that I look to do uh, when thinking about buying singles is do I want to buy them or do I have the opportunity to borrow them? And then if I like the deck in person, because oftentimes metas can fluctuate like from in person at like your specific location, but then also like on a grand scheme, like if you're going to a regional, the meta is going to be a bit different because it's a bunch of smaller area metas coming together. And obviously you're going to have the decks that are good, but like I know like Chicago when I was in Pokemon, and then like you play in that, but then you go to like a regional event. Those like it was a little bit different from what was being played. So I think that's also something to keep in mind. Uh, Spencer, I'll go to you next. What do you think the best times to look to buy cards? Are you doing that same thing that Sean and I do?
Yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to be doing for the most part is, grabbing a couple of boxes just because, I enjoy opening some boxes, filling out, majority of my bulk and then going from there. One thing I did want to state though was, a lot of times when a set is first revealed and comes out, there's going to be overrated and underrated cards. So a good example of that is like from TFC Bell, super overrated, and Surfer Stitch, super underrated. And then in Rise of the Floodborn, a good example is Arthur. At the beginning, he was super underrated. Like I knew he was going to be a good card, but his price didn't reflect that, and I didn't jump on it. And now his price has skyrocketed through the roof. So I think that's something worth looking at as well. Is whenever a set first drops, is if you think that a card is being underrated, or if it's a card that you just really want, really want, and you see that it's not expensive, just buy them up. Because
Buy 'em up.
the prices do shift, and if and if something somebody puts together a deck that uses that card and it skyrockets in value, you're going to be real happy you picked it up. Because if you don't, you're going to be real sad, like I am about Arthur's right now, because I can't build my bounce decks that I really wanted to build. Yes.
I think a good example of that is Sleepy's Flute. It's sitting
Very good
around
example.
$5 right now, and what day is it? Like maybe like at the start of the month ish, it was sitting around $1, and then it did really well. I believe it was PAX, correct? And it won PAX, I believe. And so just as soon as like something happens like that, it will jump, and like Spencer said, as soon as something is thrown together and it does well, cards are going to be on the rise, ironically. But Blake, to you now, obviously you're in a little bit different of a market than us being in Canada. How does that change things when you're looking to buy cards for these play sets? Are you waiting a bit? I think you are. But how do you go about that?
Yeah. Pretty much follows the same patterns as you guys. It's like the same cards rise and fall, much like stateside. It's just we're a little more expensive in general, but I will say in Spencer's case, yeah, just watch out for being bitten on the opposite effect. Like for the Black Friday sales that one of my LGSs did, we went ahead and buckled down on a Grandpappy playset and he was $10 a piece at that time. Looking at him today, he is $1.50 a piece. So, just be careful.
Be very careful.
But I will
Agreed,
say
man.
the one time that you never buy. Say it with me, boys. Pre-sales.
Never buy the pre-sales.
Nope. I was
No.
confused when that was going to be. Yes, don't buy the pre-sales.
Never
Never buy the
pre-sales.
pre-sales. Never buy the pre-sales.
On that note, I will say, unless you're collecting enchanteds, as soon as you pull them, sell them, because their values have tanked.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's 100% right. I have still yet to pull one, but when I do, I will be selling it as soon as I can.
I'm hoping that
Or trading it away for value. One of the
I'm
two.
hoping that our good buddy Franz hasn't pulled whatever enchanted I pull one day, and I can just trade it to him because I know he likes to collect those. So
He is the enchanted collector.
he is the enchanted collector. But I do want to this obviously moves perfectly into the next point I wanted to bring up, was being able to predict what cards may be good and when to buy them. And that's a really hard thing to do, I think. Is obviously you can like say that a card is going to be good, you can think a card's going to be bad, and some of the time that's right, and you do get those predictions right, but some of the times it is wrong. Like in the case of Bell, everyone thought that card was going to be really good because as soon as you get to 10 lore, you're questing for 5. Turns out it was rather hard with Be Prepared and all that other jazz in set 1. So, Spencer, I'll go back to you because you did bring this up. Do you have any tips or anything you found that are helpful when trying to predict like when cards are going to be good to buy and versus when to kind of like wait them out?
I mean, a lot of it's just going to be, being involved in the testing community, because everybody's going to be building stuff out as soon as the cards are revealed. So a lot of times they'll have a good idea of, what's going to be good, what's not from jump. But at the same time, and usually they're ahead of the the market, because the market people aren't doing that. And then at the same time, like, I think a good strategy is we say don't buy the pre-sales, but the pre-sales are super cheap. Like if it's $1 for a card, just buy them. Like is like $4 if it drops in price. Like, are you going to be upset about that? I don't think so.
When I say don't buy the pre-sales, I am specifically referencing sealed product. I will say that.
Oh yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think the whole sealed market is going to change too, like going forward. Now that the singles market is dropping, as people are realizing that the sealed product isn't worth that much. So I think we're going to be seeing MSRP and below MSRP pre-sales for set 3.
I really, really hope you're right.
Yeah,
That would be such a refreshing change.
That would mean that the world is healing. The world would be very much healing in that regard. Blake, I'll go to you next. Do you have any ideas or thoughts that you've been able to come up with along
I just told you my story about Grandpappy. I don't think I can give any advice.
That's fair. Sean, since you're the most veteran of all of us in the TCG market, any tips that you've got along the way that when it like trying to predict stuff that is like being good or like stuff like that?
I mean, we have a really bad track record here on the Glimmer Gang because we were
we do.
We were talking up Bell Archer so much, and that card has done virtually nothing. So, I don't know, man. Just gonna kind of echo what Sneaky said a little bit earlier. You know, you see a card you like, buy it. You see a card for $1, buy it. Like, get a playset while, like, especially if it's like a rare, super rare, legendary. Buy it if it's like $1. Why not? Just it may stay like a bulk rare, but it could also at some point jump up from that $1 to 20 plus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, good cards are good. We all know this. So just, you know, sit back. If you have like a friend group that you play with, bounce ideas back and forth. But you can, like, there are cards like you will think that are good and you want to invest in. You buy them for like $1.50, $2 a piece. They turn out to be doo doo and you never play them, and that's okay. But there will also be times where you buy a card or a play set of cards, and then turns out 2-3 weeks down the road, everybody realizes how good this card is. Skyrockets. You have without ever having to sell it, you have increased the value. You have increased your net worth. It's all gravy at that point.
Do you know what really sucks about this conversation?
What?
Because I'm going to have to take this and put it at the beginning of the episode for the cold open.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
This is a great cold open. But
This is a great cold open. We did the cold open because we had nothing at the beginning. This is great. And this will get people entertained.
Yeah, we had to get warmed up.
Yeah. All right.
You got to figure out how to transition from the stock market to the prediction to this, because that's where it's going to end.
Oh, I realized my mic was off this whole time. So I was saying this time
Oh
we're just gonna do an Irish goodbye. We're not even gonna say anything. It's just gonna end.
Oh yes! Oh, I love the Irish goodbye. That's the best ever.
So are we just Blake just gonna cut it at a random point?
Yeah, but it'll go to the planes, trains, and automobiles conversation. I'm taking that wherever that begins. I'm just cutting it there, moving that to the front.
Then put the music and then the start of the episode.
Before that is just where it ends.
Okay, I like it. Sean, you can stop recording now. We're all good.
Glimmer on, everybody.
Dang it! I knew you were gonna say that.
Got him again.